Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here, so I'm just trying to get this stupid thing off my screen. I'm gonna get this off. Oh, come on, go away. Sorry about this, guys. Just got some technical issues. Hey guys, it's your boy MKS here, back at you in another video, and welcome to part 2 of 1204 one or share or like or whatever you want to call it. Basically, the sort of things I hope to reward and that kind of thing. I hope I do as good a job as possible, as ever, of course, as you might imagine. I hope I don't forget too many things, or preferably nothing. I hope I don't forget anything. But if I do, hopefully I'll do it in part 3 or whatnot. But I thought I'd bring some props for this one. And this is how I do my writing. Obviously, not the neatest, writing. You can probably tell. I know I have my strange punctuations and all that. But that's the sort of way I do writing. Like I use the whole space. I don't really write in paragraphs. I was going to say punctuation in paragraphs or things like that. But anyway, here's some stuff I was writing in a Flipboard and folder and stuff like that. Hoping to keep my work a bit more neat and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'll try and come to these sorts of things. I've got these sort of what do you call them, props. I believe that's the correct word that people call them. But anyway, can't think of much to say for the intro, except for I nearly forgot to say that I had a bit of a knackering day. I went to the gym at night, as I often do, because a lot of time I like to go at night because it's less busy. But I did try and sort of push myself, but not too much. So it's a bit difficult to get balance. I tried to take breaks in between, but I did push myself quite a lot. And the next day I'm knackered. I'm really tired. British word, knackered, which I believe is Cockney, i.e. from London. So for anyone outside of the UK. But anyway, I woke up late and I didn't get many of my plans that I wanted to get done. So unfortunately, it has been a bit of a nightmare. Try and get myself motivated and get things done. But yeah, I can't think much else to say for the intro. I know I do try and keep the intros a bit shorter if I can, but I didn't wake up till like 11 o'clock, and then I didn't get myself to be motivated. I had so many goals to work on, but unfortunately, waking up late doesn't help. Anyway, I hope people out there, ouch, enjoy this. Sorry, my cat's scratching me. Got sharp nails. And here goes. So these are points or ideas or whatever you want to call them, thoughts or whatnot. Number 11 to 20 or sort of things I want to reward, that kind of thing. So here goes. So number 11, I hope to, for each line I get to write, so let's say this, for instance, or each sentence, shall we say, I say line for line, but let's say sentence, or it could be line, that I get to write. So if a mosque, if a Muslim individual or organization or mosque helped me to write a line of my ideas, I would share something from the Quran or whatever that they want me to share, a quote or a verse or whatever they're called. And same for church, for Christians, individuals, churches, organizations and whatnot. So I hope that makes sense. I probably shouldn't, but I sort of took an envelope which was a card for my mum, and I sort of wrote all the things I hope my mum will be rewarded for, as an example. And I've also got things like advertising sort of things, and I keep these sort of as a symbol to sort of help me to remember and think of, like, if a company helps me with ideas or plans, which I talked about in part 1, or any other plans I cover, I hope to reward them by sharing information about them, flyers, leaflets, or their website, or any other information. And I mentioned about props as well. As I say, those are props as well. I got this sort of thing that someone printed out for me. Normally I don't print things out, but I got this thing which someone printed out for me, which was how to organize how much money I get coming in and going out and things like that. So basically helping me to budget. But I thought using the back as an example. Now most unlined, as I would call them, non-lined or unlined papers I get, like if I had blank papers, or as I say, unlined or non-lined or whatever you want to call them, papers. I dream to give them to artists in what I call the six, which I often talk about. I've mentioned in previous videos, so I'm not going to go into them in too much detail in this video. But I got my train of thought. Sorry. I wish to give them to artists in what I call the six, but I don't. But for these, I thought of an idea, and the reason for the ruler, pencil, and pen is to sort of say, to draw down where the middle would be, so wherever the middle is, to draw a line down, and to have two sides, and one would be say what I contribute, have contributed, will contribute, and whatnot, or do, or whatever. Contribute and stroke or do, whichever you want, whichever term you want to use, and what I hope to ask for. So it's from my point of view, and then the other column would be what the other person involved. So it's a sort of householders agreement, or I thought families, couples, friends, and whoever else could do that kind of thing, so that you make the fairest deal. So the ideal is to make that equal on both sides. So let's say I say that I do stuff like empty the dishwasher, take the bins out, do the hoovering, or whatever, clean up, tidy up. That's more for other people. It kind of bothers them more than it bothers me, because I'm not that. I hopefully not the most unhygienic, but I'm certainly not the most hygienic person, or the most cleanly person, or whatever. So it doesn't bother me so much when things are messy. So I say, like, when I hoover, so that's for my mum or my brother as I live with them. But anyway, I'm going to carry on that point in number 12, because I think there were a few things I was going to say, but I didn't realize it would take me that long to cover them. But so I was thinking of that as an idea, trying to explain it as well as possible. So basically, any trying to explain this as well as possible. So point number 12, I did want to cover that in one point, in point number 11, but I'm going to carry it on so the video hopefully is not too long. It is kind of already a bit longer than planned, but yeah, down the middle. So hopefully both sides will be equal. So if you could count what you contribute per day and what the other person, the other party, or people, it'd probably be just two people involved in that, what they contribute. So try and make it as equal as possible. So I hope to work out, like, let's say how much my mum spends on shopping, bills, and things like that, and try to pay it back as equally as possible. So through errands, or as my brother is Muslim and my mum is Christian, I think she is anyway, and she's a bit confused like me perhaps, but they could get me to share religious stuff or things like that. But I hope that makes sense. It's a bit of a complex idea. It was a lot easier in my head to explain, but I hope that makes sense. As I say, a lot of people say respect your elders, but I think you should respect those who respect you. I think respect your elders is one of my least favorite sayings. I think it's very prejudiced. If you substituted elders with race or ethnicity, or a certain race or ethnicity or religion or group of people or gender, people would call it discrimination. So I don't know why they don't when it's comes to age. But anyway, so yeah, the idea would be that it's equal on both sides. So I'm hoping to work on that idea and make it the fairest deal possible. And I think with that, you won't get taking things for granted or resentment or things like that, because you'll be able to say that if you sit down calmly and rationally, you'll be able to say you got the fairest deal possible. But if you have any questions on that, please let me know. Another thing I was thinking of, which I wanted to include in point number 12, there was something else I was going to say, but I can't quite remember it now, is that I was thinking of another strange and controversial idea of mine, which is the battle of the sexes, or the battle of the genders, and the idea of that. And for this, I think people might say you're going to be biased in that, but I was hoping to have like a point, or I'm hoping to have, and to work on it, and to sort of get it as close to perfect as possible. I'm hoping to have like a point scoring system, which it would be which gender is the most helpful. So for instance, each time, let's say, a male asks, can you bring this, can you do this, can you do that, I hope that will give points to women or to females, and then the other way around. So each time a female of any age really says, can you bring me this, can you do that, can you do this for me, can you do that for me, the points would go to the other. So I'm hoping to make some sort of point system. I was thinking, so let's say my mum asked me to do an errand, then that would be points to the male side, and then if my brother asked me to do an errand, that would be points to the female side. And I promise to God, say, I'm not that religious, I often say, but if I do it unfairly, then I think I promise to do it as fairly as possible. And I suppose if I don't, then maybe God could strike me with lightning, which would be very frightening. So, but yeah, even though I'm male, but I know that's a bit complex. But I was thinking, each time someone says, how can I help you with your ideas, they win points for their gender. And I think whichever gender is the most helpful, i.e. asks for the least and offers the most, I think God should bless that gender. But yeah, very confusing, I know, but I hope that made some sense. I'm fearing that people won't quite understand me. Number 13, for the point 13, I often think, I always sort of think of a negative. I was going to say, I know my goals are quite selfish, if I'm honest. Or some of them are. I think most of them are not, actually, but I was going to say, I know some of them are quite selfish. Another thing, I should have got this out of the way first for point number 13, but I was thinking, a large part of me, I don't know if I should admit this, but a large part of me thinks, and I hope God, I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but part of me thinks, would it be better if there was no God? Because then there won't be hell, there'd be one less master, and things like that. But anyway, I'm going to move on. I feel a bit guilty for thinking that, but it's something I can't help thinking. But moving on, number 14, I hope God proves me wrong on that point. And also, I was going to say on the subject of my goals often being selfish, again, I think most of them are not selfish. I wouldn't say they're completely selfless, but they are about helping others in many cases. So I hope they help to solve many problems. Number 15, I'll say whoever helps my goals, generally my causes and things like that, goals generally, and works and plans, I hope to find a way to reward them. I hope to sit down and say, what's the fairest way possible to reward them? And sometimes it's difficult because to sit down with someone, wait till they're patient, or they get annoyed if you disturb them, or I mean I do as well, to be fair. I get one of the things I think, like when people call me, when I say call, I don't mean on the phone, say how are you, how was your day, or whatever, but I mean like say, Michael, can you come here a minute, or whatever. I get irritated, I get irritable. So I suppose it would be a bit hypocritical of me to say, but sometimes even when I try and talk to someone in a calm way and whatever, they seem to be irritable. I think they're a bit hypocritical to sort of call and then complain if you sort of try and talk to them or whatever. But I'm sure there were a few other things I was going to say. I can't remember if I remembered to say, I did mention in point number 11 about how each line they helped me to write, I could share like a verse or scripture or whatever, depending on what religious group or business or political party or whatever helps me, I could share something in return. Number 16, again, anyone who helps me and sort of says, I helped you with a certain thing, I hope to return the favor if I feel that the help they gave me is something that is worthy of rewarding. Again, I hope to find the fairest way. I mean, I know some people might argue you live in the same house, so like doing things like hoovering and cleaning up, tidying up and things like that is for your good as well. But those things really bother other people. The house would really have to be really messy and really smelly and dirty for me to even notice. I care more about what helps me write, make YouTube videos, do social media, Facebooking and things like that. So those are things I care, basically being creative and making things and stuff like that. Number 17, I would say in point number 3, I hope to think of any points I didn't cover here. As I say, in my head, it made a lot more sense, this sort of thing that I was talking about where I said two sort of sides, a line down the middle, and talking about what you contribute versus what you want the other person to contribute. It sort of, I came up with the idea from like the roommate agreement, which is in the Big Bang Theory, which Sheldon made. But I thought it could be something like a household members or tenants agreement, where you sort of agree what they contribute. You try and reward like for like. So again, I hope that made sense. Number 18, anyone who encourages me and motivates me, again, I hope to return the favor. Again, I hope to sort of come up with a fair system for the battle of the genders, the battle of the sexes, and things like that. And I hope to each time someone calls me, distracts me, or whatever, I hope to remember to write it down. And each time someone helps me and offers, say, what are your goals, what are your dreams, how can I help you, I hope to write that down as well. So I hope that will encourage people to try and think about helping and that kind of thing. Although it's a bit of a dilemma, it's a bit of a quandary, or whatever the right word is, because I kind of don't really like rules that much, but in a way, I think sometimes I suppose they offer are good, and I think you have to stick to them. I think if you break them, when you draw the line, I suppose. Number 19, whoever helps Indigenous, African, and Australasian software developers. And number 20, the same for STEM. And I know my ideas are a bit confusing and a bit quirky. And again, I do worry that they're a bit out there and other people won't understand them. So if you do have any questions, please fire away. I didn't do quite as well, or quite as good a job as I was hoping, because I suppose my nerves got the better of me again, as they often do. And again, I do worry whether other people will understand them. Maybe people might say you're overcomplicating them, but actually they don't. They're not as complex as you think, and there's a way I could simplify them. But I was thinking that I went for a shower to try and think of my ideas, because I think that does help me to think. Going for walks and going for showers, I think, does help. But yeah, in my head, it made a lot more sense. But I'm going to stop waffling, and I hope this video came across a lot better than I was hoping, than I fear. But peace and love. I'm out.